1982, and it's called Pornography, the Cornerstone of the First Amendment. Censored readers who have been with us for the last 15 years know that there are many forms of censorship. We have advertisers who dictate editorial content. There is government censorship, from secrets of the CIA to the FDA trying to deny us our vitamins and the right of alternative medicine to exist. But in all of this, pornography is the true test of the First Amendment. Some of us are offended by pornography, and others of us believe that looking at dirty pictures makes us violent. Some of us believe, like Judge Robert Bork, that only political expressions are protected by the First Amendment. Many of us use the terms pornography and obscenity interchangeably. It goes on and on and on. When all is said and done, we learn that all objections to pornography are a result of personal opinion, a personal value judgment. These opinions and value judgments, in most cases, come from religious soil. We see this clearly in the 1980s Meese Commission on porn, and Anthony Comstock, special agent of the post office in the late 1800s. There's nothing wrong with American citizens having strong personal opinions against pornography. But when these opinions are drafted into laws that will govern those who do not share these negative personal opinions, we have a problem. When these personal opinions spring from religious soil, the problem is compounded. Previous censored articles have shown that if God exists, then only one religion out of all that populate our modern world is true, and can claim the divine right to make law for us. But the Bible has given humans this time to govern ourselves. The God of the Bible does not coerce non-believers to abide by his laws. Christians who stick their noses into politics are acting contrary to God's instructions. Why then are religious zealots censoring our textbooks and men's magazines? Why, in the name of God, are they denying many of us our freedom of choice? When religious zealots are pinned down on the issue, they all admit that they have a problem with sex in the open light of day. The women against pornography also have a problem with sex, men, and society. Many of the leaders of Women Against Pornography are lesbians and view man-woman sex in a peculiar light. They see economic exploitation everywhere. Having these misguided people legislating on sex is like having the celibate celebrating Roman Catholic Church write laws for non-Catholics. One who has never known love cannot discourse on the subject without sounding hollow. Some of us can conceive of actions having consequences, such as drug taking can harm our bodies and brains, but we can't truly know about something unless we've been there. Ronald Reagan's Attorney General Ed Meese once wanted to make it a federal crime to sell a magazine containing a naked female breast to a minor. The female breast is first a milk-producing gland to feed the young. Its sexual qualities are secondary. If a picture of a mother breastfeeding her child appeared in a magazine, this would be considered obscene. This happened a few years ago. An issue of Censored had a bust of a mother breastfeeding her child on the front page. In no time, the police were at the door saying the photo was obscene. They were told to get lost. What of the concept that viewing porn leads to violence? Isn't there just a speck of truth to this theory? No. In years past, Catholic grade school teachers gave out holy cards, pictures of saints to make kids good. Since the project was based on a bad theory, it was a failure. No new saints were created. This was another glaring example of Christians not knowing their own theology. The Bible says corruption comes from within, not from without. Good books can't make anyone good, and bad books don't make people bad. Emotional and physical health are a matter of balance. The saint who reads only holy books cannot be emotionally healthy, and the porn lover who lives only to read porn is in the same boat. The concept that porn causes violence is absolute nonsense. It is a theory held in opposition to the truth. If it were true, then all the panelists on the Mies Commission on porn would now be violent after viewing the thousands of examples of porn they did in their quest to find a link between porn and violence, which they failed to do. Doesn't porn lead to rape? Well, first, rape is not a sexual act. Anyone with a modicum of sexual experience knows that it is almost impossible to penetrate an unaroused vagina. Where are the statistics that show how many rapists actually penetrate their victims? Rape is an act of violence. The concept of domination exhibited in an act of rape is exciting to a lot of women, said Dr. Wendy Stock. Dr. Larry Barron says porn does not cause rape. Sex offenders are rarely interested in porn. According to Dr. Richard Green, porn is an educational and a therapeutic tool. Porn is good. History shows us that deep religious beliefs cause violence. The porn causes harm concept is only a gut instinct. The religious nut Donald Wildman believes that the television show The Golden Girls was a geriatric sex series. Dr. John Money tells us hardcore erotica has existed in all ancient cultures. There is a gender preference. Men enjoy it more than females. According to Dr. C.A. Tripp, the essence of porn's attraction is that it is taboo. Other evidence makes it clear that it is entertainment or a masturbatory outlet. The psychosexual mechanism of catharsis proves that those who relieve their sexual tensions in an unguilty manner have no residual energy to fuel neuroses. Wilhelm Reich showed that periodic non-guilt-laden sexual release leads to an undestructive and unneurotic personality. Those who believe porn causes violence have got it all wrong. The fact is, if sex offenders could masturbate or have sex without guilt, they would have no energy left over to fuel their symptoms. Rape is a young man's obsession, and older people love to Newsweek poll of March 1985 showed that highly educated people like porn. And Dr. Judith Becker says perversions are not caused by porn. Prior to the 20th century, only the rich could view porn. It was the same with the Bible until the invention of the printing press. The Catholic Church didn't want the Bible in the hands of the common people. Blacks consume less porn than other races, yet they are so overrepresented among those arrested for and convicted of rape, said Dr. R. Staples. These statistics fly in the face of the porn leads to violence theory. When all is said and done, porn becomes a trivial issue. A bad belief system and emotional immaturity leads us to the theory that porn causes violence. The law deals only with what is obscene. Obscenity is a matter of causing offense. In the 1957 Roth Supreme Court decision, it was decided that obscene material was not protected by the First Amendment to the Constitution of the United States, and that it could be regulated. Modifications occurred in Miller versus California, which gave us community standards and the three-pronged definition of obscenity. Number one, whether the average person applying community standards would find the whole work appeals to prurient interest. Number two, whether the work is patently offensive according to state laws. And number three, whether the work as a whole lacks literary, artistic, political, or scientific value. It is clear that these foundational decisions continue to ask for opinions and personal value judgments in order to define obscenity. Personal opinions and value judgments are no business of the law. All laws regarding obscenity must be junked. Americans buy, read, and view more pornography than just about anyone else. Obscenity convictions are an invention of the late 1800s. And some of us don't like to admit it, but any idea is capable of being obscene if the personality perceiving it so apprehends it, says E. F. Murphy. An example is Heinrich Pommerenke, a rapist and killer of women in Germany. He began his spree after viewing the Ten Commandments. Albert Fish began castrating and sacrificing young boys to God after reading the Old Testament. Michael Goldstein and Harold Kant explained that sex offenders generate their own pornography from non-sexual activities. These people read sexual meanings into images devoid of erotic connotations for normal persons. Overexposure to porn does not lead to sexual offenses. It is too little exposure and emotional difficulties regarding sex that breeds the sex offender. In fact, the attitudes towards sex which motivate the censor are part of the background and psychological formation of the personality patterns of sex offenders. Repression of sexual feelings, exposure to explicit sexual stimuli, shame, and guilt related to sex. There is an incompatibility between arousal and destructive behavior. What most of us don't grasp is that even partakers of the sadomasochistic scene are enjoying themselves. S&M porn is consensual. Unsophisticated viewers may misinterpret the behavior as violent due to aggressive cues like whips, but the whip can kiss as well as sting. As long as the erotic element and the drive for pleasure are paramount in the sexual act, it remains in the realm of normality. The Marquis de Sade was a psychopath, not an S&M enthusiast. To some, porn is a nuisance, while to others, it has its place in a freedom-loving culture like ours. The state has no right to ban or suppress porn or obscenity. Porn does not produce effects. It can't excite insight. A foot fetishist will not find explicit sexuality arousing. Psychosexual conditioning determines what we will allow to be sexually arousing. Fetishist is proof that porn out and by itself has no effects. It cannot energize us. We project and energize the object. There is no standard of pornography, that is, a form of porn that can arouse everyone. Thomas Jefferson said that the press, confined to truth, needs no other restraint. The laws governing obscenity are a result of non-unanimous decisions, no mandates. If we were dealing with a real, clear, and present danger, we would have unanimous decisions. We are dealing with opinions turned into politics. Just as 99.9% of all religions are wrong, all obscenity laws are wrong. Chief Justice Warren was wrong when he said that the nation and the states had a right to maintain a decent society. Whose standards of decency should we apply? Shall we punish people for blasphemy, like the states did in 1792, even with First Amendment protections in their state constitutions? The simple fact is that a burgeoning porn business would be a boon to our economy. Porn harms no one. There is no legitimate reason for government to restrain trade in it. Porn is a therapeutic and educational tool. It is entertainment. It is fun. Freedom of choice is the essence of our democratic way of life. Those who don't like porn can ban it for themselves, but they have no right to ban it for others. A decent society does not deal in usury. It doesn't tolerate political or business lying. Its poor do not live in the streets Love motivates a decent society. Decent people are empathetic and filled with compassion. Decency has nothing to do with sex or porn. It has to do with how people treat each other. In a decent society, we do unto others as we would have others do unto us. Decency is a way of being. Churchgoers and political conservatives try to act decent, but they are filthy. If we are a truly free and decent people, we would repeal all obscenity laws. True democracy demands nothing less. And I'd like to add these things. After 12 years of conservative Republican rule, the United States finds itself number one in the areas of murders, sexual assaults, and violent attacks. In Texas and Louisiana, the two states that have the death penalty, the leading cause of death is guns. Violence is epidemic. And what political conservatives refuse to admit is that behind all this carnage, there is money or lack of it. The conservative search for excellence is nothing more than an excuse to step on the poor or not so well off, a way to jump to the head of the line. Violence has its roots in the need to covet, to put oneself first, and the inability to feel. As long as conservatives continue to worship money, violence will be a part of our society, and it has nothing to do with pornography. Also, during a 1992 academic year, attempts by conservatives to ban books rose by 50%. Some of the books singled out were I Know Why, The Caged Bird Sings, A Separate Piece, In the Night Kitchen, for its picture of a naked boy, and The Grapes of Wrath, because a black man who is starving nurses from a white woman's breast. Also, censorship at Mademoiselle. Sheila Kaplan's article, Nasty Girls in Washington, in the November issue of Mademoiselle was cut. The section on Kathleen Lanahan of Philip Morris Incorporated didn't appear. There was no comment from the editors at Mademoiselle. The end.
Hi, this is William Morrow. Are you one of those people who join a health club, and after they have your big, overpriced annual membership, you notice that you're on your own with little or no results even after all the promises? Then the website Personal Trainer is for you.
Thank you very much, William H. Morrow III.
So you lost another argument with a conservative, right-wing Republican. He talked over you. He screamed and yelled. He brought out the Bible. He thumped it. He quoted scripture to you. You were lost because you came at him with facts. Nothing but facts. And you expected that would make you look good. That would make you win the argument, but it didn't. You know why you lost the argument? You know why you're going to lose your next argument? Because you don't read Censored. Censored, the 30-year-old newsletter that shows you how to defeat a conservative. Read Censored, and you'll have all the ammunition you need. Every time you get into an argument with a right-wing conservative, so-called Christian. Censored, that's all you need. Read it. and defeat a conservative.
Greetings, listeners. Let me speak to you for a moment about the foundation of our entire organization, Newsletters Censored. It was founded by our mentor, the Reverend Dr. William J. Eisenman, in 1977. It discusses the 5 taboos of American life: politics, religion, health, human sexuality, and child rearing. You won't find anything like this in the mainstream media and the press. It reveals the kind of truth that most people are afraid to hear. Can you handle it? We are living in the end times, so in order to defeat a conservative and save America, you need Newsletters Censored. Go to www.newslettercensored.com, click on the printable order form page, and with your gift to support this work, get your free annual subscription. This is James P. Madonna of Megalife 21, the hardest hitting internet talk radio station on the planet.